Welcome to my video on how to make a pre-release deck. In this video I've used Dominaria packs and I hope you find it useful going into the Guilds of Ravnica pre-release this weekend. Okay, I pre-recorded opening these booster packs, so I figured I'd just do a little bit of commentary over top. You can see we've got 6 boosters of Dominaria here. I'm going to go through them fairly quick, and then we're going to pile them up as we go. Few things to note, probably the rares. You can see here we have a Sulphur Falls, which is a very decent rare, and then a Yargle as our legendary creature. With the Dominaria set, there was a guaranteed legendary creature in every pack, so it became the last notable card in the packs next, and then of course was the land at the end. In this next pack we've got, coming up here, Final Parting, Thran's Temporal Gateway. And we have a rare legendary creature, which I believe is a foil, yeah it is, of the Lich Knight, which really, that Lich Knight in a draft, if you can get to the full 10 mana for it, it's devastating to anyone on the other side of the board. It's really hard to deal with, but unless you find a way to bounce it back later on in game or take it back out of your graveyard, it's still pretty decent, seeing it's got Menace. Sylvan Awakening, it's always nice to have a card that awakens all your lands. It becomes a decent finisher, and considering it's only a 3 cast, and you saw Llanowar Elves in the set, it was quite easily a card that's really underlooked, but in a limited format, it's a decent card to turn the game around. Here we have a Lich's Mastery, not one that I particularly like picking up in a sealed pool. Lich's Mastery, it's a build-around card. It's not one that's easy to do in a sealed pool. You can probably get away with it in a standard game. I wouldn't be surprised with the rotation that we're going to see here coming up in just over a week if you see a Lich's Mastery deck with life gain white going really strong. Verdant Force, it's okay. It's not, once again, it's not really that good of a pre-release pack to pick up a Verdant Force. It's been reprinted over and over again. It's just a callback to the Dominaria days. I believe this is the last pack. And here we have, we got a Skrillex. Oh, a Clifftop Retreat. So another dual land. They're good if you end up in those colors, but dual lands are not something you want in a sealed pool for how rares go, because it's a really niche level of playing. You're mostly going to use your commons and uncommons. That's where you're going to focus on. Your rares should be that they are just rares. If you end up with 2 of the same rare, it's great if you want to try and play it, but if they're junk rares, you're still not going to play them, and they're not that great when it comes down to it. So here you can see I've as fast as I can, when you're making a sealed pool, you want to just separate these out as fast as you can, and then you go through color by color. You want to check out your removal spells mainly. How are you going to disrupt your opponent? Can you remove their creatures? Are they quick? They easy? If you don't have a lot of removal for creatures, can you remove their hand? Can you affect the entire board state? Can you affect the player directly? So it kind of goes in that sense when it comes down to a pre-release or a sealed pool. Note the difference when you're using 6 packs for a sealed pool like this. You obviously don't get that promo, There are stores afterwards in my town here where they will do a sealed pool, and you will find if they use leftover kits and it's a PPTQ type of thing, you don't get to use that promo in it, but you get to use the rest of the kit, which is really nice. Okay, what we got here is the deck that I ended up making. We have two Divests. We have a Shivan Fire up there and a Fungal Infection, a Frenzy Raged, a Vicious Offering, a Radiant Lightning, and a Fiery Interference, or a Fiery Intervention, sorry. Sparring Construct, a Lava Runner, 2 Rat Colonies, the Witch, I can't quite remember, I can't quite see it there, the Caligo Skin Witch, a Champion of the Flame, we have the Surveyor, 2 of the Keldon Overlords, Yargle, the Lich Knight is most notable here, a Thallid Soothsayer, there is the other witch, the one that you can sacrifice, the Whispered Blood Linguist, and pretty much a Skrillex. Yeah, it came out okay. I had a friend that also made a sealed pool. We do this quite often where we each get 6 packs, and right now in my financial strife, he buys all the packs, he keeps all the cards, and lets me open them for him, so I can shoot a video like this. So this turned out to be a decent deck. I believe I went 2-to-1 over his deck that he made. He ended up with a 3-color, splashing the 3rd color for another deck. But the most notable things in here, we have the Divest to target the hand, the Fire. Well, we have 5 semi-removal spells. The Fungal Infection doesn't necessarily mean it's a removal, but it also could be a favorable trade trick that you use in a sealed pool like this for a pre-release. Next up is this site. It's mtgen.net. It's a sealed deck generator tool that you can go in, and you can see here we've got Unstable, Iconic Masters, Masters 25, Dominaria, Battle Bond Core 2019, and they've updated to have Guilds of Ravnica. So we can go into the program, and in here it lets you change up your pre-release pack-ins. You've got a big chain, a big set here. You've got a standard booster, Boros pre-release, all the way down, Boros booster. So if you pick the Boros pre-release kit, I believe the promo that's in there, the stamp date promo, is this pack-ins, and then you get a Boros booster also. I could be wrong on that. We have not seen a kit yet. It may still be a random card, but I think it is a semi-generated random card, picking from all of Boros. And then you also have the 5 boosters, the standard boosters. So we go into here and we generate the set, and it shows you the dice that you get with a little thing on there, just an idea on what's in the set. This building a sealed pool. And then you can see it actually labels here the Boros booster. So you're looking at the Legion's Edge, Boros Locket. I think going through all of this, I've played around with this each time, and it looks like in every single booster specific to the 2 colors, you're going to end up getting the locket seated in there. So don't expect it, but expect it at the same time. So because this locket, it is a mana fixer, and it is a little bit of a ramp, so it's helping you build towards those colors, especially when you have 2 white 2 red in this True Fire Captain. A card like that in a normal sealed pool you don't normally would see play, but because of these type of sealed pools with the Borrow booster, you're seeing it right out of the gate. So the other thing of note is the guild gate. I do believe you get a guild gate in each booster, and later on the guild lands, the special ones, the basic lands are going to be part of those kits that are coming out in a month's time after the release here. So you can see what you have here, and then it goes through. You can leave it here by booster, and it even shows you the extra card that they put in there. These are the old cards. They just don't bother updating the art here. But you can see 1,000-Year Storm at the end there. You see your 3 uncommons. Now at the very top here, you can go 7 sets generated, 98 cards, right? Sort by name, color, rarity, cost, type, guild, generated sets, and then you can save it and export the deck. You could go into something like this. You can export all the cards like this and slide it into Xmage if you're playing a bunch of friends. So this is another tool that you can use if you've got a bunch of friends, and you can go into it. Just one thing of note here, at the very top there, I just noticed, it says 264 out of 273 cards. Means they're still kind of updating this at the time of shooting this video. So in the next couple days, you'll see that probably reached 273 out of 273. So you'll see all the cards being inputted into this. So if you change this to rarity, now it comes up with mythic rare, your rares that you get. Now the one thing that seems to be missing here, so we've only got 6 rares, so I don't know what this pre-release pack-ins is. We'll have to take a look at that after. Then you can see your uncommons, and this is where you're going to want to focus on. But first things first, let's sort it by color. So this gives you an idea on where your color may stand. Now, I know Desolator, I watched his video about how there's this extra booster in there, and you can't count on your Guild Pacific booster. It could strew over your entire pool, and you can see here in this pool, we've got 4 black uncommons, and we've got a few black-blue, so getting away from the white-red. So really in here, if you're in the white-red with the Boros, you maybe want to do a blue-red or something with red or something with white, and try and build from there. Like white, red, green if you end up with the 3, or blue, red, white. Same thing with the commons. Once again, we'll go by color, and you can see we've got a lot of white here, which isn't surprising. You should see a lot more white and red overall with that extra pack. 2 Righteous Blows here. Those are decent tricks, especially for one mana. Now these are something, early game they're huge, later game they help you trade better with creatures. Say you have a creature that's going to bounce, that way you can attack, throw this against it, and it'll kill it off for you and start making pathways for you. You can see there's 2 of the Luxodon Restorers, which is a Convoke 3/4. They give you 4 life. There's 6 to cast, but at 6 you only want to play a few 5, 6, 7 type spells, 2 to 3 at most. So that's something that you want to really watch out for. Now, when they gain you 4 life, I don't know if the trade-off is really there on a 3/4 overall. Going down here a little bit, we do have the Sworn Companions. Now, when I build a deck, I try and stick with a 7 to 17 ratio for the trick spells, artifacts to creatures. I try and keep around that 17 mark for creatures, and you want to try and keep around the 17 mark for mana. Now, when it does come to creatures, because we have a Sworn Companions in here that make 2 creatures, this is an easy card to count as a creature instead of a spell. Although it is, because it's going to create 2 creatures for you instead of only being a 1-use spell. In the blue, we do have a Capture Spear, which is something that you would want to try and target maybe as a removal, but the blue isn't looking too great. The black with the 2 dead weights, that's a little bit bigger, so you may look at splashing black, especially when we looked at the uncommons there. It was looking a little bit better in the black sense. The red, once again, it does look that the red is slightly playable. Now, I'm only seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures in the red, and in the white we had, so these 2 Sworn Companions I'd count as creatures, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the white. So you could easily make a red-white deck, the Boros deck. You do have the Direct Current, and yes, this is 2 damage to any target. It's 3 to cast. It's not your shock that you see in current standard, but it does have with that jumpstart, so now you can do it twice. You can do it once one round, once another round. You unfortunately, in a pre-release pool, in these sealed pools, you do have to take your removal as you see it. You can't stick with wanting a different type of removal if you don't have it. You have to build with what you got. For me, these are my favorite style of format, because I feel there's a little bit of luck involved, but I feel that I can make the best possible deck out of those 6 packs, and that's how it comes down to. Now, we also have the 2 Fresh Face Recruit, first strike on your turn. So if you have a pump spell, which I believe in the white we did, we have the Garrison Sergeant, double strike if you control a gate, and in most cases you're going to have a gate. We do have 1 Boros Locket, and look at this, we ended up with 3 Boros Guild Gates. So building towards that red-white is nice, and you've got to really look at a lot of the cards here. The Shield Mate here in particular, yes, it's a green-white creature, but it doesn't mean that you need to play green to play this creature. This is a 2-cast, 2/2 vigilant creatures. Don't overlook these. Make sure you see these hybrid mana as what they are. They are white or green, not both. So this is definitely something that you may want to look at as you're going through your packs. So this looking quite viable, you can easily make a deck from that one. The quasi-duplicate here as rares, that's not something that I would want to try and just splash into, mainly because the 2 blue, the Ritual of Suit, again, destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. It's a nice big board wipe, but once again, it's a 2 black. So when you're splashing, you kind of want to stick to a single mana, or really try and stick more with artifacts if you need to fill in a set. So let's change this up to an Is It, just to see what happens here. We'll generate the set again. So once again, you can see it shows you the pre-release box, and in the Is It set, and you can see again it's showing up with the locket there, and the guild gate. So I would bet you're going to get a guild gate of the chosen guild when it comes down to these packs. They're semi-randomized, but they're not fully randomized because they're targeting that. So switching to rarity here. Now, the Necromoeba. This is going to be one of those overlooked cards, I think, when it comes down to a pre-release or even a draft. If you're using Surveil, this is going to pop out on the board every time. Because when you use Surveil, that means you get to put it into your graveyard. So don't overlook this Necromoeba. I know a lot of people don't like the card because it is a reprint, but in this particular set now, with Surveil, it's going to make a difference. Beacon Bolt, that's pretty nice. Beam Splitter Mage. Like, this is pretty decent when it comes down to it. We have an invert to invent, so that lets you fetch stuff or switch things around. Capture Spear, that's a removal card. So the way this is looking pretty good, and it. So, oh, I see what I did here. I only did the rarity on the booster, not on the entire thing, which is all the way up there. And look at that. We actually opened a mythic on color, the Arc Light Phoenix. That would be a very cool card in foil. A 3/2 Flying Haste at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you cast 3 or more instants and sorcery spells this turn, return them to the battle from your graveyard to the battlefield. So something of note here, if you're playing on your opponent's turn and you've got those 3 instants and you got the mana open, say a counter spell, a shock type thing, and then one other thing, maybe a trick, this thing can come back out of the graveyard on their turn still. For rares, the only real good one here was the Necromedia. But I'm looking at this, and there is the possibility of splashing into black. There's the Retta of the Silencer, which is going to be an amazing EDH card, because when it leaves the field, it goes into that command zone. Midnight Reaper, not a bad card. And then you have the Troll here, which I wouldn't really try and splash for the Troll if you're staying in the red-blue. Look at this in the red-blue. We ended up with 3 Beacon Bolts in this one. It deals to target creature equal to the total number of instants and sorcery cards you own in exile and in your graveyard. Now, one thing with note, I know I try to stay with the 17-17 ratio. If you're in the Izzet set, you're probably looking at 14 creatures and 10 spells, mainly because you're going to get more triggers off the spells, so that's something of note with Izzet. The green, the Eric, that's a pretty fun card. Now, Enhanced Surveillance, I did read the actual ruling on this, and the ruling is if you're surveilling and there's another thing that lets you surveil more, now instead of it being a surveil for 1, it becomes a surveil for 3, or a surveil for 2 becomes a surveil of 4, because this allows you to do 2 additional surveils, or 2 different additional cards in the surveil. Glaive of the Guild Pack, not a bad card. +1/+0 for each gate you control, and it has Vigilance and Menace. So in most cases you will at least have 1 gate, hopefully open a couple more. Even without the gates, this don't overlook this card, because it's Vigilance and Menace. So now you can attack. They've got a block with 2, and he doesn't tap, so don't overlook this if you don't play with the gates. You're still going to get that bonus if you end up with at least 1 gate, and in these packs you're getting at least 1 gate on color. So 2 inverts is nice to invent. So once again, looking at the Beacon Bolt, if you have this going on, you can get the invert in your graveyard pretty quick, and then you can Beacon Bolt. Or if you later on in game, now you're looking for 2 other cards, you can easily grab one of these invent if you have the 2, and the Beacon Bolt to go with it. You do have the Guild Mage, which anything that sinks mana for later game is well worth it. If it doesn't tap, it's even better, like the Goblin Bannoneer here. And I said possibly splashing black. There is a removal spell in black, the Price of Fame, so that's a possibility with that removal stuff. The Selective Snare, if they ended up with you're not going to see a huge payoff of this in the sealed pools, but this is a card not to be overlooked with, because this still, for 2 mana, you can at least remove 1 creature off the field. So it does that. Silent Dart, if you have no other no other removal, this is a good card to pick up and throw in there, because this becomes a removal spell at 3. Yes, it's, once again, the mana's up there, it's costing you 5 total to do 3 damage, which isn't efficient, but once again, in a pre-release pack, you've got to go with what you got, because if you don't, if you overlook them, they're going, you may pay for it. So Boros Locket, let's sort these by color. So a couple Candlelight Vigils. Now looking at the blue, because we're looking at blue-red, 2 Capture Spears is nice. You do have a Devious Cover-Up. So now Devious Cover-Up lets you bring 4 cards back into your library. So once again, with those 2 Invent and the Devious Cover-Up, you might be able to cycle things quite well. Radical Idea, this is a draw card. Literally, this, in this type of deck, it's filtering your deck down a couple more cards, meaning you're going to get to the cards you need faster and better. And because it's got the jump start, it's even better. Watcher of the Mist with the Surveil. So right now, I think we're only looking at like 1 Surveil card. Yeah, so 1 Surveil card in the blue. Now, looking in the black with the Price of Fame that's there, that's a Surveil card. We do also have a Deadly Visit, a Dead Weight. So this is a strong contender to splash black for the removal. And then this Deadly Visit also is a Surveil. But right now, as it stands, if you were not to throw in the black, you wouldn't be playing this enhanced surveillance, because there's not really a point to it other than to reshuffle your graveyard into your library. So in red, we've got the Direct Current again. Gravitanic Punch with the Jumpstart. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target player. This is kind of like a fling, but instead of it being you're flinging the creature, you're sacrificing the creature, now you have a Gravitonic Punch. So say you boost it up with the maximum velocity, that's only a one red, and then you throw it at them, but you're not throwing it at them, and you can jumpstart it. So you have enough mana open, and you can have the cards extra in your hand. This could easily be a finisher card. So, we have a couple Sonic Assaults, which is nice. Another Boros Locket. We have, look at that, 3 Guild Gates again, which is really nice when it does come down to it. The Goblin Electromancer is nice, 2 of them. So just making those things much cheaper. You know, there's no real downside to using them. There's still a 2/2 for 2 when it does come down to it. Anyway, I hope this has been quite helpful for you. We'll get some final thoughts here. Okay, that's what I've got for a pre-release primer for going into Guilds of Ravnica. I'm sorry I don't have packs that are more with the core set, but I did have the Dominaria video there, just to give an example of building a pool for you. If you like this video, please give me the thumbs up, or give me the thumbs down. But if you give me the thumbs down, please in the comments below let me know what I can do to make it better for the people out there. Please remember to hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to build the channel, and hitting that subscribe button will help build the channel quite quickly. I do also have a Patreon set up, and I am looking to obtain up to 5 patrons by the end of October, looking at that for Halloween, just so I can continue to try and roll this channel along and build it up. I just want to say thank you to everyone that's stopped by, and look forward to my video this Friday on This Week in Magic. There was quite a ton of news that came out on Monday, and I'm going to cover it all in one video there on Friday. Thank you everyone, have a great day.